for Nigeria's geospatial information needs. The Surveyor General said the Office of the Surveyor General was established in the early 1900 and has served in many capacities in the development of Nigeria.
About trajectory, you want to go and hit a target, you need the core to control you. When a plane takes off and lands, as the plane passes through, they send signals to the plane. When there's going to be an earthquake, you start seeing the core misbehaving. The data that comes in from it, up to about 40 kilometers away, you start seeing the graph not being normal again. Then you go into further research. Why is this graph not normal? So these are what we call surveying.
Chairman of the House Committee on Polytechnics and Higher Technical Education, Honorable Fuad Kayode Laguda, has emphasized the importance of ensuring transparency and accountability in the budget performance of polytechnics and technical institutions across the country. Highlighting a critical role in Nigeria's development, he reaffirmed the committee's dedication to overseeing the operations effectively. Following an oversight meeting with 5 Southeast Polytechnics in Abuja, Laguda noted that Federal Polytechnic, Akanu Ibiam Federal Polytechnic, Nkede Federal Polytechnic, Uhud Federal Polytechnic, Isiochi and Federal Polytechnic Oko had earlier failed to appear before the committee, citing security challenges. However, the institutions later attended with their management teams and offered apologies for their absence. Laguda stressed the need for physical verification of budget expenditures, stating that some schools provided inadequate evidence of completed projects. He further reported significant progress in the oversight process, with 80 to 90% of activities completed, and reports from all 37 federal polytechnics under review.
Some of the oversight that we've held here in the National Assembly, most of them we concluded to the fact that we still need to pay physical visits to them due to some of the budget lines that they gave us, expenditures, that things they've done. Some of them were able to provide pictures, some of them were not. The ones we were not too convinced about, we've already noted them that we'll be paying physical visits to them to see things ourselves.
You're still on to Galaxy Primetime News, and coming up next. The indigenous people of Biafra disassociates itself from the purported declaration of the Biafra Republic by some members of the Finland-based group. Details of these and more will come to you shortly. Please stay with us. To have you back. Now, for more updates and latest news, please visit our website www.galaxytvonline.com. Connect with us on our X handle at Galaxy TV. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/GalaxyTVNews. You can follow and interact with us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/GalaxyTV. Remember to follow and tag us on our Instagram page at Galaxy TV. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate a live update and comment, as you can easily scan our IG QR code. The federal government has commissioned some projects worth 200 million naira undertaken by the Alumni Association of the Federal Government Academy Suleja, calling for more of such support for the development of the education sector. The Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Education, Nasir Sani Guazo, at the commissioning of the project in Abuja on Saturday, admitted that government alone cannot single-handedly shoulder the burden in the sector. The report.
The permanent secretary, who was represented by the director, Senior Secondary Education in the ministry, Hajia Binta Abdulkadri, applauded the efforts of the alumni for their commitment in investing in their alma mater. He stressed the need for all stakeholders to have the spirit of giving back to the institution that played a pivotal role in shaping their future. According to him, since its inception, the Federal Government Academy has stood as a beacon of hope and innovation in education, adding that the school has not only created a gifted and talented children, but has also challenged them, students, adding that the investment will help greatly in well-being and education, as well as a shining example of values that the school holds dearly. The head boy of the school, Abdul Hafiz Abdul Ganiyu, pledged the support of the students to put to the best use the projects, as well as ensure no act of destruction towards the projects.
You are coming together to sponsor this project worth almost 200 million naira. Did you hear that? Students, when you graduate and leave here, you have to think back of what was given to you.
Former President of Nigeria, Goodluck Jonathan, has attributed the major problem facing the nation to food security. The former president made this known on Sunday while speaking at a special guest in an occasion marking the first festival of food, art and culture. The country has made it difficult for people to afford food.
The celebration is unique. The first Eshie Festival of Food, Arts and Culture. Of course, in Nigeria, our greatest problem today is food. People sometimes find it difficult to eat one good meal a day.
Commended the former president for his support during tough times.
We want a peaceful River State, because River State is the center of the Niger Delta, and I always make it very clear. If we create serious perturbation in River State, we are creating crisis in the Niger Delta, which is not good for our economy as a nation. We want a peaceful River State. We want the governor of River State to be allowed to remain calm and do his work. After he finishes serving, another person will take over. It is not here for our. We know that they are there and do them bad.
In a show of strength and physical fitness, officers and personnel of the Nigerian Navy ship Pathfinder embarked on fitness exercise through the street of Port Harcourt, Rivers State. The exercise, which spanned about 8 kilometers, was aimed at keeping the personnel physically fit and prepared for the tasks ahead. Led by the Commander NNS Pathfinder, Commando Kaje, and other top officers, the naval personnel left the naval base in Port Harcourt at exactly 6 a.m. of the state. Speaking with newsmen, Commando Kaje Tan commended the effort of officers, ratings and the Nigerian Navy, noting that their sacrifices have recorded significant achievement in improving oil production in the country. He expressed optimism that the Nigerian Navy's determined Petroleum Corporation Limited achieve its 2 million barrels per day crude oil production target by the end of 2024.
Exercise is for us to exercise our body, to increase our efficiency in work, our effort to quality dividends, because the production of crude oil as of today stands at 1.8 million barrels per day, which is a remarkable achievement. Hoping towards the end of the year, we might reach the target of 2 million barrels.
Commando Anyako said, in line with the mission and vision of the Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, the Nigerian Navy is committed in confronting any challenge in the cause of securing the maritime Operatives of the Nigeria Police Force attached to the Borno State Command have repelled a terrorist attack on the Jakana Divisional Police Headquarters in Borno State on November 28, 2024 at approximately 1 a.m. In a statement by the Force Public Relations Officer ACP Olumuyiwa Adejobi, the operatives displayed exceptional bravery, engaging the attackers in a fierce gunfight that left many of them with severe bullet wounds. It added that one police officer sustained injuries and is currently receiving treatment. Similarly, the statement said on November 25, 2024, joint operations conducted by the Sokoto State Police Command and other security agencies targeted Black Spot and Bandits camp in the state. It disclosed that these coordinated raids led to the recovery of AK-47 rifles, several fully loaded magazines and other ammunition, while the occupants of the camps fled. Efforts are ongoing to apprehend the fleeing suspect. IGP Egbetokun praised the gallant officers for their bravery, dedication and swift actions that resulted in these achievements and urged all officers to remain vigilant and resolute in their mission to dismantle criminal networks and protect lives and property across the nation. Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, IGP Kayode Egbetokun, has directed the Force Marine Officer to lead a comprehensive investigation into the cause of the boat mishap that occurred in Kogi State. The unfortunate incident, which occurred along the Dambo-Ebuchi waterways of the River Niger in Kupa local government area, involved over 160 passengers, with 24 rescued and others still unaccounted for. The Force Public Relations Officer, Muyiwa Adejobi, in a statement issued and signed in Abuja, said the Inspector General of Police, on behalf of the Nigeria Police Force, commiserated with the government and people of Kogi State, particularly the families affected by the boat tragedy on the 29th of November 2024. According to the statement, the investigation aims to identify contributing factors and develop actionable strategies to prevent similar occurrences on the nation's waterways, adding that it will also provide insight into improving the overall safety and emergency response systems for water transport across the country. The IGP further assured the people of Kogi State and Nigerians at large of the unwavering commitment of the police force in coordinating with relevant agencies to ensure the swift rescue of missing passengers. The indigenous Biafra Republic by some members of the Finland-based group describing it as a scam. IPOB, in a statement by its spokesman Ima Powerful issued on Sunday, said the pro-Biafra group has no hand in the purported declaration, saying those involved in it are in Finland and the real sponsors of insecurity in the southeast region of Nigeria. The IPOB spokesperson added that the agenda of those who made the declaration in Finland was to destabilize the southeast, divide the people, cause panic, and divert the attention of Biafrans and those sympathetic to the struggle. He stressed that there is no room for another Biafra declaration besides the one its late leader, Odumegu Ojukwu, declared in 1967. Governor Besani says he will continue to promote youth and ensure that he provides an enabling environment that will make them discover the talent. Governor Sani made this known at the 2025 Kaduna Fashion and Arts Exhibition taking place in Kaduna State. In her address, the Minister of Hajia Nana Tijani, who represented the Honorable Minister for Art and Culture, said the creative industry has a capacity to employ millions of youth. On his part, the Emir of Wasau, Ambassador Nuhu Bamali, says culture, history and art is very important in every society. Ganiyat Sani, the creative director of Carfat, says they are using art to promote culture and heritage, which will
to nurture our creative and cultural industries. One significant initiative in the National Creative Economic Action Plan, which aligns with the Nigerian 2030 agenda to position the creative sector as a key driver of our economy.
We have done a lot, and thanks to two organizations that have supported us in this context, that has built a befitting museum for us, in the palace of which we are, preserving these, artifacts and historical, documents.
We also wanted to explore it through contemporary art and fashion because we're saying too much. So we decided to use art and fashion to express the theme from whence we came.
Some youth in Ibadan, Oyo State capital, have staged an advocacy walk within the metropolis to create awareness against harmful environmental practices, which kicked off at the University of Ibadan and terminated at Songo Market. The leader of the group said citizens must understand that everybody must be socially and environmentally responsible at reducing the impact of climate change in the country. He said the focus on advocating attitude on government and policy makers, but on members of the public, while cautioning citizens against indiscriminate dumping of refuse, bush burning, cutting down of trees, and emission of smoke into the air to avoid the impact of climate change. He advised citizens to choose eco-friendly lifestyle. Also speaking, an environmental enthusiast, Ms. Hallelujah Demola, charged government at all levels to do more in the implementation of environmental laws, while expressing worry that residents of Oyo State still dump refuse by the roadside and waterways.
Accountability is all about everybody, citizens, young people, old women.
Affordable and accessible to every other person around, because the number of waste that is being generated every day. If you go to Agbowo, for example, Agbowo is a very dirty place. If you go to Agbowo, you see people dumping refuse by the road, by the water. There are always water flows around, so people dump refuse in there. So I would like to encourage the government to go into these areas and ensure that there is a proper waste management.
And now we get to track key events that took place within the week.
Welcome to Track in the Week. On Monday, in a bid to shape Nigeria's fiscal future, the Joint Committee on Finance and Budget Planning of the Senate and House of Representatives conveyed the stakeholders' fiscal strategy paper (FSP). The meeting aimed to align the nation's fiscal policies with its development priorities while addressing economic challenges. Chairman of the Senate Committee on Finance, Senator Sani Musa, representing Niger East Federal Constituency, in his opening remarks described the MTF and FSP as essential tools for guiding the nation's budget. Senator Musa provided key highlights of the proposed framework addressing the fiscal challenges. Senator Musa underscored the need to optimize revenue streams, tackle leakages, and strengthen institutions. Minister of Finance and Economic Planning Adewale Edun expressed optimism about the administration's economic policies under President Bola Tinubu. He noted that Nigeria's GDP is on the rise and that, however, he acknowledged the high inflation rate and emphasized the need for targeted intervention to support vulnerable populations. Also on Monday, the Managing Director of the Nigerian Education Loan Fund (NELFund), Akintunde Soye, announced that the agency disbursed 12 billion naira in student loans to date. Speaking during an oversight visit by the House Committee on Student Loans and Higher Education Financing in Abuja, he reviewed the 601,000 loan applications have been processed so far, with 321,000 approved and sent to institutions for validation. Soye also noted that the agency has received 400,000 registrations, out of which 120,000 individuals have received stipends. The fund processes over 2,000 applications daily and is committed to ensuring fairness in loan disbursement across all regions. He further disclosed that 52,000 additional loans were approved last week for disbursement to institutions and individuals. Highlighting the challenges, Soye stated that managing a fund of this size without face-to-face interaction poses risks of fraud. To mitigate this, the agency meticulously reviews each application individually. On Tuesday, President Bola Tinubu extended his heartfelt congratulations to the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited (NNPCL) on the successful revitalization of the Port Harcourt refinery, marked by the official commencement of petroleum product loading on November 26, 2024. Bayo Ononuga, special advisor to the President, Information and Strategy, in a statement said the President acknowledges the pivotal role of former President Muhammadu Buhari in initiating the comprehensive rehabilitation of all refineries and expresses gratitude to the African Export-Import Bank for its confidence in financing the critical project. According to Ononuga, President Tinubu commended the leadership of NNPC Limited Group Chief Executive Officer Mele Kyari, whose unwavering dedication and commitment were instrumental in overcoming challenges to achieving this milestone. He said with the successful revival of the Port Harcourt refinery, President Tinubu urges NNPC Limited to expedite the scheduled reactivation of both the second Port Harcourt refinery and the Warri refinery and Kaduna refineries. The effort will significantly enhance domestic production capacity alongside the contributions of privately owned refineries and make the country a major energy hub, with the gas sector also enjoying unprecedented attention by the administration. Also on Tuesday, President Bola Tinubu officially requested the Senate's confirmation of Lieutenant General Olufemi Olatunbo Osunleyede as a substantive Chief of Army Staff. The letter read during Tuesday's plenary by Senate President Godswill Akpabio cited Section 218 subsection 2 of the 1999 Constitution as amended and Section 18 subsection 1 of the Armed Forces Act as a basis for the confirmation request. General Oluyede was appointed Acting Chief of Army Staff on October 30 following the illness of Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja, who passed away on November 5. Correspondent Kunle Ojo reported that the Senate is expected to deliberate on the request and proceed with the confirmation process in the coming days. Senate President therefore referred the matter to Committee on Army for input and further consideration. On Wednesday, Justice Mayan Anani of the Federal Capital Territory High Court fixed December 10 for ruling on the bill application by the immediate past governor of Kogi State Yahaya Bello and two others. The judge fixed the date after taking argument for in the case the bill requested by Bello's lawyer Joseph Bodude Dauda San and the prosecution counsel Kemi Pinero San. The former governor of Kogi State and two others were brought to FCT High Court by officials of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission on the 16-count charges with security within and outside the premises. In the course of their arraignment, the accused persons pleaded the first defendant vehemently denied the allegation before Justice Miriam Anani as they were ruled out by the court registrar. After taking the plea, the defendant's counsel J.B. Dauda San moved an application for bail, but the FCC counsel Kemi Pinero opposed the application, saying it had expired in October. Making clarification, the defendant counsel clarified this, saying that the only relevant application before the court was a motion for bail request for the first defendant, which was filed on November 22. Still on Wednesday, some senators protested against the motion to suspend the rules and proceedings to allow Chairman Federal Inland Revenue Service Zaccheaus Adedeji and Chairman of the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform Committee Taiwo Oyedele into the Red Chamber. This was after the Senate suspended its rules to admit Adedeji and the consultants into plenary to explain what the tax reform bill entailed. However, before they were admitted, a slight uproar ensued as some lawmakers kicked against the FIRS chair and consultant entry to the chamber. Correspondent Kunle Ojo reported that Senators Abdul Ningi and Ali Ndume raised an objection over the Senate's decision to suspend the business of the day and entertain a separate matter, and Spain, who presided over plenary session, defended the Senate's action, dismissing concerns as unnecessary rhetoric. On Thursday, the much-needed contentious tax reform bill was passed for second reading by the Senate in plenary. The passage of the reform bill, totaling 4 for second by Yemi Bamidele, would lead debate on them. After late debate presentation of the bill by the Senate leader, some of the senators who made contributions on the bill, like Senator Sani Musa, Siriake Dixon, Abba Moro, and Senate Whip Tahir Mangono, fully supported the bill. However, Senator Ali Ndume kicked against the reform bills on the grounds of timing and lack of wider consultation. The Senate at the session, presided over by its President Godswill Akpabio, accordingly passed the bill for second reading through voice vote. It therefore mandated this Committee on Finance to organize public hearing on the bills for input from those against the bill, like the Governors Forum, National Economic Council, Northern Elders Forum, and report back within 6 weeks. Still on Thursday, the House of Representatives (COAS), the lower legislative chamber, confirmed Oluyede after a report was presented by Babajimi Benson, chairman of the Committee on Defense. The House of Representatives Joint Committee on Army and Defense has screened Oluyede on Wednesday. On Friday, President Bola Tinubu congratulates Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, former coordinating minister for the economy and minister of finance, on a unanimous re-election as the Director General of the World Trade Organization (WTO). The renowned development economist and global finance expert made history in 2021 as the first African and first woman to lead the 164-nation member WTO. Her first term as the 7th Director General of the WTO, the Nigerian leader noted with delight that Dr. Okonjo-Iweala's unanimous appointment for a second four-year term demonstrates the trust and confidence the international community places in her leadership to advance multilateral trade for sustainable global development. Bayo Odondoga, special advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, in a statement said President Tinubu as a capital pillar of inclusive global economic growth and good governance in the next 4 years. Lastly, on Friday, the Federal High Court Abuja adjourned sitting on the alleged 80 billion naira fraud charge against the immediate past governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, to December 13, 2024 for the motion for abridgment and possible arraignment. Justice Emeka Nwite adjourned the sitting in the interest of fair hearing, noted that the matter had been originally adjourned to January 21, 2025. Correspondent Kole Ojo reported that the matter was called on Friday. The former governor was asked why his lawyers were not in court. He said he was only informed of the sitting late Thursday night and so could not contact his lawyer to be at the court. EFCC counsel Kemi Pinheiro insisted that the defendant's plea be taken. He maintained that what the law requires is the presence of the defendant, not the presence of his lawyer, but the judge declined. While delivering a short ruling, Justice Nwite said the matter came up to the 30th of October 2024 and was adjourned to 21st January 2025. The judge said from the statement of the defendant, his lawyers are not aware of the date and therefore adjourned the matter in the interest of fair hearing. He directed that hearing notices be issued and served to the defendant's counsel, while the defendant should remain in the EFCC's custody till December 13th. And that's it on Track in the Week.
And now we'll move over to the foreign desk for more news.
This is news from the international scene. Russia carried out a series of airstrikes in Syria early on Sunday as rebels advanced towards the south, according to the UK-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights. 4 people were killed and 50 were wounded in strikes inside the northwestern city of Idlib, SOHR said in an update. They also hit rural parts of Idlib and Hama, where the group leading the rebel offensive has reached for the first time since the country's civil war began, the observers told newsmen. This offensive, which began earlier this week, marks the most significant fighting in Syria's civil war in recent years. Russian strikes hit Aleppo for the first time since 2016 on Saturday as rebel fighters took control of large parts of the city without much resistance, the observer said. Led by Islamist militant group Hayat Tahrir al-Sham HTS, opposition forces have since seized Aleppo from the government, SOHR told newsmen on Sunday. They have not taken the neighborhoods controlled by Kurdish forces, it said. The rebels have pushed south from Aleppo into several towns in the countryside near Syria's fourth largest city, Hama, according to SOHR. A military source quoted in Syrian state media on Sunday said the force had reinforced its offensive lines in the region with troops and equipment and prevented rebels from achieving any breach. President Vladimir Putin has approved a 25% increase in Russia's military budget for 2025 to 27. A document published confirms, despite the considerable rise in defense spending, it appears to be the most secretive in post-Soviet history, with a third of it censored from public view. It amounts to about 32.5% of the total budget, 13.5 trillion rubles, up from a reported 28.3% this year. The numbers have already been approved by both houses of Russian parliament, but as one Ukraine remains its main financial partner. Of three main Irish political parties have all been re-elected to serve in the Dáil Irish Parliament. So far, 41 of the Dáil's 174 seats have been filled, with counting resuming on Sunday morning. Michael Martin of Fianna Fáil, Simon Harris of Fine Gael, and the Sinn Féin leader Mary Lou McDonald have overcome their first obstacle in the Irish general election. Now they all face an even bigger challenge to try to form the next government. Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael have slept together in the outgoing government, and after the first day of counting votes they seem well placed to return to government. If they agree to do so, they may need the support of one of the smaller parties. A number of the men independent TDs were expected to be elected as the counting of votes continues on Sunday. Sinn Féin says it also wants to be in the next government, and the party is ready to speak to other parties and the independents. But based on current prediction, the scale of the challenge facing Sinn Féin is enormous. Still on the international scene, Namibia's main opposition party has said it will not recognize results from this week's general election, where there have been logistical problems and voting was extended in several places. In a statement on Saturday, Pandeleni Tula, the presidential candidate for the opposition Independence Patriot for Change IPC, alleged that there have been glaring and undeniable electoral malpractices. He had been aiming to defeat the candidate for the Southwest African People's Organization, SWAPO, which has been in power since independence in 1990. SWAPO's flag bearer, Netumbo Nandi Ndaitwah, is seeking to become the country's first female president. Voting began on Wednesday, but in parts of the country continued up until Saturday.